And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Friday, May 9th. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down a two-game slate. We've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, at least as of right now, 3.5-point favorites in Indiana, 228 total. We've got Oklahoma City in Denver, 5.5-point favorites, 232 total. That is where we stand right now for today. Nice to have a two-gamer back coming off of yesterday's not great one. Shout out to the Warriors for not really helping us out in any way. I mean, that sucked. Kind of what I expected, for being honest, but I mean, no part of that was a good time. I think we're all on the same page there, that's for sure. Wasn't good. It just wasn't good. I wish that I would have gotten off of Post. I didn't like him during Live Before Lock in terms of what I thought was going to happen when he was out on the floor. I couldn't help but play him because of his price tag and his starting role. And really, any amount of minutes you give him, he's going to look like a decent value play. But I did not like the matchup for Post. The moment you put Post out there, you don't have to guard him with Gobert. You put Gobert on Draymond Green, and then Post is just a shitty NBA player getting guarded by somebody better than him. So I'm not surprised that didn't work at all. And I don't expect him to start in game 3. But I wish that I had the balls to do something about that pre-lock, but it's just, there's nothing you could do. That's what sucks. That's what sucks. I do want to take a look at some of the matchup stuff. Not that looking at someone like Quentin Post would be useful today, because obviously he was in there for 3 minutes. Just out of curiosity, who guarded him for those 3 minutes? Yep, Julius Randle, as I told you guys. Let's take a look at some of these other matchups that we had. They really did spread Ant around. You know, kind of everybody just ended up with a piece of Ant at some point. Who are they matching Gobert with? Yeah, Draymond, Jimmy, everybody else. Who was on Butler? Makes perfect sense. Jaden McDaniels, main assignment on Jimmy Butler. That's an absolute no-brainer. Not surprised to see that. I don't even really have to look at any of these other... Like, these matchups are just so irrelevant in this series. Like, yeah, if Draymond's going to be on Julius Randle, I mean, that's going to take Randle out of it, but everybody else is going to thrive at that point. I just, like, in terms of this series for Golden State and Minnesota, like, I just don't have a lot to dig into. It's going to be a mess when there's no Steph. They have no idea what they're going to do. It's just going to be find the guys that play well and hope that you can keep them out there on the floor. So for, these past couple days, I've had takeaways from the games from the previous day. I have nothing from yesterday. Golden State's dead without Steph. Their only chance was that Ant rolled ankle or whatever being worse. It doesn't appear like that's going to be the case. So, like, I don't think there's a ton of context here. Doc, there's nothing you could do there. You can't go into that slate thinking, like, I should have Trace Jackson Davis. You just can't. It seems so good in hindsight, but we can't crack that code. I mean, we're talking about a guy in Trace Jackson Davis that was the starting center for the Warriors for like 2 months. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if he started hanging out with Jonathan Kuminga. Kerr just, not only did Kerr end him, but he ended him. He basically didn't play for the final 2 months. So really hard to assume you're just cracking that dude back out during the playoffs, but here we are. Came in the second quarter, played 10 minutes, 3 for 3 from the field, 1 for 1 from the line, 4 boards, a steal, a block. They were only -3. He did like stem the bleeding there. But there's just no space on the floor for the Warriors right now. Trace Jackson Davis just doesn't fit with Draymond offensively. I mean, nobody does. That's the problem, really. John, I think Kuminga's going to be able to turn himself into a fringe NBA player on his own. Guy's a bit of a wild card. What a game. What a game. You got 2 minutes of first half Looney. I mean, they didn't even really go to Kuminga in the first half the way that I thought they would, but he closed out the second quarter pretty well. Yeah, there's a decent chance Kerr killed his confidence. Can't disagree there. Kind of like a chicken and the egg thing. It's just gross. It's just gross. I never expected Kevin Knox to play first half minutes in a playoff game, but here we are. All right, let's talk about today. Obviously, I don't have anything to say for Cleveland right now. What happened with Looney? He's Looney. You can't play Kevon Looney when there's no shooting out there. I would love to break down Cleveland for you guys. That's just not going to be what we do on this show today. Darius Garland questionable. Evan Mobley questionable. DeAndre Hunter questionable. Now, the implication based on the betting line is that these guys are playing. I don't know how much they're playing. I don't know if they actually do play. And I don't know how much they can play. So Cleveland is a live before lock team. Was the winning lineup for the showdown yesterday positive pre-lock? Well, whether it was or it wasn't, I don't care because your hypothesis is trash. But I'll bite. Let's find out. I'm assuming you're asking me because you like already looked and you want to do that, but let's find out. Nope, negative 91%. But I mean, it also had Trace Jackson Davis in it, so I don't disagree. Would I take a shot on Jerome after last game? Michael, I love you. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter are questionable. I have no idea if you should play Ty Jerome or not yet. Like, yeah, you play 1,000,000,000% of Ty Jerome if they all have to sit. But, like, it depends who's in and out. Because, like, if Garland's back and we just find out that he can play the minutes you expect him to play, then Ty Jerome's not going to play that much. S&P, I think you are. I've been beating that Okoro drum to try to guard Halliburton, and I just don't think it works spacing-wise. You know, if you can get him out there as, like, you know, when one of the bigs are off, like, if you can get it where it's, like, Hunter, Mobley, Okoro, you know, Garland, Merrill, Mitchell, Merrill, whatever, then, yeah, I think we could pull that off. It all depends on who's here. It just sort of all depends on who's here. Christopher, why is Okoro not on that? What list? What list? Like, Strus feels pretty safe, but if they're all back, anybody can lose minutes at that point outside of like the real guys barring injury. Yeah, S&P. I mean, I completely agree. Ty Jerome's terrible on defense. You can get by with that when Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are out there, but not so much. The list of Cavs there on the screen. Because I don't have him projected in? Yeah, that's it. Because I don't think he plays if everybody's playing. Sorry, I didn't know what you meant there. I thought I like listed off a bunch of Cavs and I didn't say Okoro or something. That's why I was confused. Yeah, like if everybody's back, he's not going to play. Like they already have 8 dudes at that point. Like, I mean, I barely have Dean Wade in the rotation if everybody's back. And that dude should like actually play real minutes in the playoffs. Like, they won't play Okoro over Wade. Arcathelza. Okoro will be in the rotation no matter what. Completely disagree. Completely disagree. Wade will be ahead of him, and I don't even know how much Wade plays. There's no... If everybody's back, Okoro's not going out there. But, like, in terms of talking about ownership and FanDuel and draft, like, I'm just... This is a live before lock team. We have no idea who's here. Again, like, yeah, S&P, like, I'm with you, but it all depends on who's here. Because if we're just going to add back in 30 minutes of Garland, 30 minutes of Mobley, and 26 minutes of Hunter, there are no minutes for Isaac Okoro any longer. We're just out of people to give them to. If we get two of those 3 guys out, then yeah, Okoro's going to still play at some point in time. But he's the last guy, for sure. We can talk about Indy, at least a little bit. No injury news or anything here. Very flat ownership on DraftKings. The rest of all of the guys that I'm about to name right now are between 20 and 25. Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, McConnell, Toppin. Turner and Mathurin both got to 30. Am I going to play DFS on my anniversary? Yes. For the record, it's tomorrow, not today. But yes, I would imagine I do. It depends. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll play something tomorrow. I agree. Cavs are down 0 or 2-0. They don't know what changes to make, but Isaac Okoro is not the answer. And I say that as a guy that was pitching Okoro prior to game 1. I mean, you can see, like, I am very light on Halliburton right now. I've been light on him the whole series. Very light on Nesmith right now. Very light on Siakam. I don't like getting to a lot of the Pacers here. I expect Cleveland to win, depending on who's in or out. Heading home is just a massive swing to me. Or sorry, heading to Indy here. I didn't mean it like that. Heading to Indy here with your season on the line, like, I think they just have an energy to get up for today. Like, I think Cleveland wins this game, barring the health of those 3 guys. But, I mean, I was light on Halliburton in 1. I was light on Halliburton in 2. I'm going to be light on Halliburton in 3, probably regardless of the news. 57% of the ownership is going to the late game right now. I have 68. So do we choose Jerome? I don't even know why I bother doing this. What's the point? What's the point? Nembhard's looked great. No complaints there. I am a bit of a Nembhard guy. The guy that I have the most of right now is TJ McConnell. I hate that. But 3,700 point guard only. You just have to hope he goes bananas. in those bench runs. I mean, Toppin hasn't looked great. Mathurin can't buy a bucket. Siakam is just the same guy every time I watch him play. He's got to have the lowest standard deviation of anybody that starts. What the hell is a carbon fiber insert? Like a Dr. Scholl's type joint? Ghetto Farmer Boy. Maybe it's a 7 stocks night in 14 minutes for TJ. I hope so. If I'm going to have 30% of them, I hope so. Deegs, what do you want me to do? Just match the field on everybody? You can't play everybody, man. Right now, I have 88% of Jokic and 71% of Shea. I'm out of 9K, guys. I don't have Mitchell, Halliburton, or Mobley. Well, what else am I going to do? It's going to be a pretty boring show if I'm just like, I have every single player right at the field. I have no takes. I think my lineups are plenty diversified. Let me look at the FanDuel side for Indy here for you guys. Big ownership to Halliburton at 44%. We're looking at Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, and Mathurin, all in the 30s. Turner at 25, McConnell at 20, Toppin at 10. Obviously better on the FanDuel side. You get that MPE, same price tag for Halliburton. He just looks way better on FanDuel. Nembhard's price isn't that much higher. Turner sitting at the same price, center only, so that makes a lot of sense. Mathurin has the MPE on the FanDuel end. What do you guys like here from the Pacers today? How do you guys see this game going? Are you team Pacers? Are you team Cavs? What do you guys like? I mean, I'm assuming you guys like Halliburton more than I do. Travis says Turner. Kookie says Nesmith. Cavs roll. Mitchell, Turner, Mathurin. Blake says Turner. Another Turner. BD Ray Allen. Okay. I mean, he's on a different team, but sure. Emac, I'm off after this. We also have to remember that if all these Cleveland guys are back, Indy's defensive matchups are going to tweak, I think. Mike Dotson says Benedict in honor of the Pope. That's pretty good. I spent some time yesterday trying to generate pictures of the Pope. Kansas City doesn't have a basketball team, so I root for whoever Obi Toppin plays for. Oof. Kookie talking Merrill. Cavs have no choice but to run the starters out there most of the game. Depends who the starters are. Give me Ray J. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Oh, that's a nipple. Big Ray J guy. See if we have any bets for this first game. Don't forget, Odd Shopper be dope. All right, first game. All right, Jared Allen, under an 11.5 rebounds. 5 Odd Shopper rating, 3.7% EV on BetMGM. Is that it? It is. That's the only Cleveland or Indy line out there right now. A lot of Golden State. We got some Denver and OKC that we'll talk about. Diggs, I'm not really worried about failing. I'm worried about succeeding. We all fail every day. My goal is to win first. Not have a bunch of lineups finish 400th. I want to corner the market on the guys that I think are the best plays of the day, so that I have more and more combinations with the best stuff. Apparently that means Halliburton and Nesmith aren't in my lineups, and apparently it means that Nikola Jokic and SGA are. So let's get to that one. This one's gonna suck. OKC, 5.5-point favorites in Denver. Big total here. Feels too high, if I'm being honest. 232 total in the playoffs at elevation feels high. If I got it way lower, and I would have to make some pretty wholesale changes to assumed pace to get even remotely close to 232. So I'm not a big hey, take my advice betting wise here, especially on totals. 232 feels kind of high. Now maybe OKC just doesn't miss again like they did in game 2. That wouldn't surprise me. Those guys are awesome and Denver sucks, but it might not matter. The trickiest part of OKC for me is that I have no idea what they're going to do on the bench. You're going to get a lot of SGA, Jalen Williams, the two bigs. Dort is going to be out there to play as much defense as he can handle. But Caruso, Wallace, Joe, Wiggins, that's all super wiggly today. One, because they're just going to play matchups. 2, they don't need as much in this series. As odd as it sounds, they really don't need Alex Caruso as much here. You can get by with Case and Wallace. You don't need a ton of Isaiah Joe. You don't need a ton of Aaron Wiggins, because the gap in talent is too big. Doc asked if I think Wiggins is ahead of Joe now because of the blowout run, or is that Dagnall just flipping a coin? Flipping a coin. I don't think anybody's ahead of anybody here. If Jamal Murray gets off to a hot start, then we probably see more Alex Caruso. If Jamal Murray's not the dude doing anything, then maybe we see more Isaiah Joe. Or maybe we see more Case and Wallace. Denver doesn't have enough threats at this point that OKC needs to get that tactical. Is the way that I see it. It helps that SGA, Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet, and Isaiah Hartenstein are all plus defenders. So even when you don't put Alex Caruso or Case Wallace in there to guard Jamal Murray, he's still getting guarded by an elite defensive player. So yeah, S&P, I'm with you there. 18% owned Caruso is appealing to me at a low number. I'd argue that I like Case Wallace more than Caruso at lower ownership, lower price, same position. They're just so much better than Denver. Look, I love Denver. I love Jokic. I want that dude to win 1 billion titles. But here's the problem here. Because Denver's offense is as good as Oklahoma City's. These are two elite playoff offenses, at least for this matchup. OKC is going to look elite against Denver, and Denver just is elite, but they have the hard matchup. The gap here is defense. I have the defensive rating for Denver in this matchup at 113.8. Okay, 113.8. I've got OKC at 106.7. That's a 7-point gap in defense. That's the problem here. Arcathelza says Denver goes up 2-1 and picks up this win. Denver's the only team where I'll never tell you no. I don't agree with you. I think OKC bludgeons these guys for 3 more games and gets the hell out of here. But I will never tell anybody no when Nikola Jokic is on the opposite side. It's the same thing as like getting LeBron 10 years ago. Like, yeah, anything can happen. Because if Jokic goes out there and goes 40, 20, 15 again, it all comes down to like the 6 minutes that he isn't in. S&P, I don't. The refs really had no problem letting people clobber him on the first touch. I don't think we're getting that in game 3. Ken, it wouldn't even cross my mind. Here's the FanDuel side for OKC. 50% ownership coming into Shea. 50% ownership coming into Jalen Williams. 40 to Chet. 30 to Dort and Hartenstein. 25 to Caruso. 15 to Wallace. I definitely like Wallace more than Caruso. And I don't say that because I don't like Caruso. So just be aware. That's not an indictment on Caruso. I just think that Wallace is going to be easier to fit. Wallace is also more popular to me because of my exposures. You guys can see it on the screen right now. I have 70% of SGA. He's 40% owned. And spoiler, I have 89% of Jokic at 53% owned. So for me right now, big stands on the 2 pay-ups means I got to get to somebody like Case and Wallace. Russ gets one this year. Okay. This is what needs to start happening in this show, in this chat. This one's for you, Arcathelza, but it's for everybody. Russ gets one this year. I'm calling it now. Have you put your money where your mouth is? Did you bet Denver to win the title? I am no longer taking takes that are not backed up by money. You better have Nuggets futures. Hey, S&P. Do you know what Denver has done? I mean, I guess I could just pull it up. I'm in Texas. I can't. You and I both know that's not true. We both know that's not true. Don't give me that shit. Right now, you can get the Nuggets just to beat the Warriors at plus 440. The Nuggets right now on FanDuel are 18-1 to win the NBA title. If you're not betting plus 800 to win the West right now, zip it. Zip it. All right. I'm going to pull that up. So let's see. Oh, I got to piece that shit together, don't I? I can't pull all of this right now. All right, so let's see. Hartenstein this year. Let me see if I can pull this up. So let's go OKC. Hartenstein on against Denver with Jokic on. All right. 57 minutes. Ooh, hold on. Let me get all those games. Here we go. All right. 102 minutes this season. Hartenstein on. Jokic on. OKC is +9, and they're scoring 131 points per 100 possessions. Denver, 123 offensive rating. But that's my curiosity, S&P. I have, like, it's possible that they're willing to, like, punt Jokic, maybe? Because, like, yeah, that might be Jokic smashing, but if we're going to get a 131 offensive rating, like, not only is it a 131, let's think about this. Not only is it a 131 offensive rating in this scenario, but OKC's shooting 32.5% from three. They're generating decent shots, and they're incredibly efficient from two because they're still getting up to 60% true shooting. But they're not even efficient from three in this random stretch. So I'm not sure what, like, the specifics of it are, but, like, yeah, that might claim. See, okay, never mind. I read it. I just keep hearing people, not you, claim Hartenstein has to guard Jokic and has to because he's the Jokic stopper. Yeah, like, that's obviously not how I see it. I just see it as he's clearly the guy to put on Jokic because of the rest of the matchups. I just want to have Chet playing free safety, and that's what we saw in game 2. Game 1, they went to more Chet. I didn't think they were going to do that in game 1. I didn't like it. I pointed it out, and then we got to game 2, and they flipped that. They went back to Hartenstein to let Chet play the rover. That's just the better allocation for me. Josh, how many away are we from people building lineups with AI? It's right now. A year ago? 2 years ago? And then we get to Denver. Look, I'm jamming Jokic again. I didn't like doing it for game 2, but I did it anyway. I don't really like it here either because I like OKC, but it's Jokic. I'll never not do it. So 90% of Jokic. I also have a massive stand on Russell Westbrook right now at 5,100. Yes, Michael Porter Jr. can just have one of those days where he shoots himself into more minutes. Seems like they're going to be going to more Westbrook, so I'm happy with that. I'm still neutral on Porter. I'm neutral on Brown. I'm neutral on Murray, which I hate. I'll say it for the third game now. I absolutely hate Jamal Murray in this series. It's a terrible one for him. Every single guy that ends up on him is a better match, like, is not a good spot for him unless somehow Isaiah Joe is in the game. Otherwise, Murray's pretty much dead on every possession. I am getting a little bit of Peyton Watson for value. Again, it's because I have so much Jokic and SGA. I am not happy with the Denver Nuggets being my most exposed team, but they're also the most popular team on the day, and they only play 6.5 guys, so I can't really get away from them. But I do once again assume OKC covers here. Yeah, S&P. My guess is in those situations, the length of Chet is a problem for Jokic, but I would guess that the team itself is getting way better looks because Chet's involved with Jokic and everybody else has a better day. Yeah, Diggs, I read through it. I apologize. It was just in the middle of all of that other stuff. I appreciate you looking at it. I appreciate where you're going with it. It is. I'll happily look at stuff like that. I get where you're going with it. These are also, 10 o'clock in the morning lineups with no tweaks. It's just the 150 that I grabbed off the top for reference. So that is something that I pay attention to a little bit further as we get closer to lock. But the slate itself is a little dependent on diversification too. I think the makeup of my lineups will look a lot different depending on, like how extreme the chalk gets, where the value is, etc. Yeah, I'm going to end up with a ton of Denver. I just don't think they win the game. But ultimately, we don't really know what we're going to end up with for anybody. Denver, OKC, Indy. Like, we could be comfortable in talking about Jokic and SGA and Halliburton and whatever, but if we're talking about roster construction, and this isn't to you, Deegs, this is just like roster construction for today, we have no idea what it's going to look like. Because everything changes when we get the Cleveland news. Stephen McGuire, wait, OKC is the home game today? No. Travis says, I hope MPJ plays his way into more minutes. It's all about if the shot goes in. Like, if Michael Porter Jr. has a day where he's making his threes, then he's going to play 37 minutes. If he doesn't, they're going to play Westbrook. And for some reason, Peyton Watson will play 15 minutes. Well, I shouldn't even say for some reason. Because he's Peyton Watson, he'll play 15 minutes. All right, schedule for the rest of the day. This is what we've got going on the Stokastic streets for today. I am off tonight. You won't see me. You're going to get Laffy on the MLB strategy show after this at 11 a.m. You're going to get Emac and Bellman at 5:30 for MLB Live Before Lock. You're going to get Greg and Eric on NBA Live Before Lock at 6:30. And then Greg and Emac are going to be on Playback tonight, playback.tv/Stokastic. I'm going to build a lineup on DraftKings. I'm going to build a lineup on FanDuel. And then I am going to dip. So hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. I mean, I would imagine someone is already doing that where you have an agent doing your late swaps. I could set that up in a day. It wouldn't even be hard. It's really, really easy. Michael says, Josh, you should have a contest where one of us gets to do a show with you. That would be awesome. There is a 0% chance I would ever do that. 0. Less than 0. That sounds awful. Here we go. DraftKings first up. Large contest. 35% to first. Let's see what we got. All right. Russ. Miles Turner. Looks like I'm going to get no Jokic. So let's get Isaiah Hartenstein. Then let's get Shea. Christian Brown. Max Strus. We finish it with Jalen Williams, Michael Porter Jr., 500 on the table. Let's see how we do here. Yeah, -7. I'm not surprised there. I didn't like that construction. Let's pull MPJ. Let's pull Jalen Williams. And then I guess I'm going to pull Hartenstein. What does it give me then? Mathurin, Jalen Williams, Jamal Murray, $200 on the table. Now, I would hate this lineup. Give me something positive. Oh, there we go. 71.8, Russell Westbrook, Max Strus, Benedict Mathurin, Jalen Williams, Miles Turner, SGA, Christian Brown, Jamal Murray. We move it to FanDuel. All right, Miles Turner. Russ. Siakam. Nembhard. Aaron Gordon. Strus. Finish it with Mitchell, Halliburton, Christian Brown, $100 on the table. Come on, 60 plus. Ah, 14. Okay. Let's take Christian Brown out of there again. We'll take Halliburton out of there, and we'll take Mitchell out of there. And then I'm going to pull one of those fours. I'm going to pull Siakam. Then I'm going to get Donovan Mitchell. That gives me Jalen Williams, DeAndre Hunter, and Halliburton. That's going to be the one. 64.9. 20.5. Okay. I'm going to keep the Mitchell piece. I'm going to get rid of Halliburton, Jalen Williams, and DeAndre Hunter. What if I get... What's Chet look like there? That gives me Chet, Brown, Strus, 500 on the table. I don't think this is going to be any good. Zell Sledge says, I started Trace Jackson Davis. Cool. Hey, Zell Sledge, if you ever have any head-to-heads you want to send out, send them my way. 30%. I can't crack this one. What if I pulled Turner, Chet, and Jalen Williams? Gives me Turner, Chet, and Jalen Williams. Okay, what if I pull Turner, Jalen Williams, and Donovan Mitchell? Brown, Williams, Jokic. All right, let's see it. $22-2. All right. We found our zone on FanDuel. Don't forget, guys, if you ever want to sign up for the Portfolio EV tool, it's very simple. There's a link in the description. You can do one of two things. You can get a 7-day free trial if you've never signed up before. No questions asked. If you want to cancel after 6 days because you hate it, you won't pay us a thing. If you want to go for the month, you can sign up through one of the affiliates you see on the screen. That link is also in the description. You still won't pay us for a full month, and you'll probably get a little bit of a bump from whatever affiliate you sign up with, whether that's a deposit bonus or bonus bets, something. You send us an email after you do that with a screenshot, you get a free month of Portfolio EV. And right now, on the Portfolio EV tool, we got Lou Dort under 13.5 PRA with a 10 odd shopper rating. We've got Aaron Gordon under 1.5 threes on FanDuel with a 5% EV. We've got Halliburton here under 9.5 assists. MPJ under 1.5 threes. Jared Allen under rebounds. We got a lot going on the portfolio EV streets, and you guys can get in either one of the promos. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm not going to be around tonight. Anniversary tomorrow. I appreciate all the kind words in chat. I will see you guys Sunday morning, though. And then I'll be back for Monday. So good luck, everybody. Talk to you later.